Hello, and thank you so much for dropping by this video. A very warm welcome to everyone, and a special welcome to anyone who's new to this channel or this topic. This video and this channel is based around the work of that person, a man named Bruno Groening, um, quite possibly one of the greatest healers in the history of this planet. He was active in Germany in after World War II. And literally tens of thousands of people experienced miraculous healings in his presence. We don't know the exact number. It could be, when I say tens of thousands, it could be more like 100,000. And since he left his body in 1959, the healings have continued, as he said they would. And so today we're going to look at a few things that he taught, and we're actually going to practice how to experience healing for ourselves, more specifically, how to take in a divine healing energy that does the healing for us. Thanks for saying hi, Jisoo and Magdalena, and a very warm welcome. Let's begin to take in this energy. It's very easy to do. Please sit with your legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor, hands on your legs, palms facing upwards. Back in a relaxed upright position, not leaning against your chair if possible. And then please close your eyes and now hand over to your understanding of a higher power any fears, resentments, life situations that you're worried about, also any illnesses. Really give them away. Bruno Groening said something really interesting. He said, "Give me your illnesses and I'll give you something in return. I'll give you health." Now, to anyone who's new, that may sound crazy or impossible. That's how it sounded to me when I first found out about it. How could someone take my illnesses, much less someone who's not currently in their body? Well, as Shakespeare said, there's more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy, and that was true for me. I thought I knew so many things about so many things, but actually, what I've come to realize is I had a very shallow understanding of life. So again, handing over your burdens to a helper such as Bruno Groening, or to your understanding of a higher power. And then bringing your attention, focusing your attention on healing. Being open to the idea of a healing life force or energy. Then have the intention to receive it and observe your body. Noticing what you're feeling. Having the intention to receive this energy. So that's the basic practice, which we'll practice together in silence for a few minutes. Observing the body, having the intention to take it in. Just keep coming back to observing the body, intending to take this in. coming back to the present moment, coming back to observing the body. So I'm going to share and read a little. I invite people to continue tuning in, continuing to observe their bodies. So, one of the things that Bruno Groening taught was to not focus on problems. That doesn't mean to ignore a problem, but it doesn't mean to dwell on it. And also not to talk about unless necessary. Human beings have this habit of talking about, thinking about, dwelling on negative things. And Bruno Groening pointed out that that brings nothing but misery. And in fact, in terms of an illness, that actually blocks the healing process. I'm reminded of an amazing way that this was brought home to me. I did one of these online meetings and I was just feeling so high and just so happy. I don't know if high is the word, but joyous. It had been a great meeting, um, and I was going downtown because one of my favorite forms of music. I don't know. I think it's from Africa, and if it's these, it's like a xylophone except it's made out of wood, and it's just joyful music. It's the most joyful, happy music in the world. I forget the name of it, um, but you just hear it and you just feel joy and you just feel like dancing, like it's that kind of music. And so I was just feeling so good from the giving this meeting, and I was so joyous to go hear this music, and I get down there and the music is playing and I'm just feeling so happy. And this person I don't know walks up to me and we just start talking. Like, he says hi, I say hi back. He says, "How are you doing?" I just like, "Oh, I'm so good." I'm feeling, if I don't know if I said it, but what I probably needed to say is I'm just feeling so connected to God, and this is my favorite music. But I think I just said, "Oh, I'm feeling so joyful right now." And he said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I have, the I forget the medical condition, but he said, yeah, the arthritis is just killing me." And I'm like, "What?" Like, this is a stranger. He's like, "Yeah, I've had it for a while now, and it just keeps getting worse." And I noticed I just started to feel yucky inside. And so, after he went on for a little bit, and I politely, interrupted him, said, "I'm sorry, I'm not available to talk about this right now." And I went off, and I namaste to him, and I said, "I wish you the best." And I went off and danced, and I made a new friend. There was this girl there who was like 5 or 6, and she was dancing, and somehow we started playing hide and seek. I didn't know this person, but we just had a ball. We were just playing for 20 minutes and dancing, and it was just like this party. And then I reflected, oh my gosh, if I had just stood there and listened to this person just talk about their illness, like, I probably wouldn't have had I mean, it was like a peak experience. It was just like it was one of those heaven on earth afternoons. It was like just an hour of just sheer joy. Now, from a social perspective, what I did is completely rude and completely inconsiderate. And from a spiritual perspective, at least from the teachings of Bruno Groening, what I did was correct. Talking about an illness, except when necessary, strengthens the illness. In fact, it passes some of that negativity along to the person who's listening. It doesn't help either person and actually is harmful to both people. To the listener, it brings their attention to what's negative. To the person who's talking, it just reinforces the illness. Bruno Groening said if we want to be healed of something, we have to stop thinking about it and stop talking about it all the time. So this was a beautiful example to me of yeah, and it wasn't comfortable to interrupt this person, and but it was just a beautiful example to me of how we all, and I'm recovering from this habit too. We all have the habit of dwelling on, talking about, thinking about, telling everyone we can our problems. Now, there's a time and place to do that, and a time and place where it's helpful, but to do it compulsively, to do it for no reason, it actually harms it harms both people. You could say it brings them down. Said another way, it connects them with evil, with problem. So let's reflect on all this. Taking in the good, just giving away any problems, any burdens, giving away the habit of dwelling on them. Observing the body, taking this energy in. Noticing what you feel. Here's a quote from Bruno Groening. Man needs strength to take in just one thought. He needs energy, and he therefore must always take all the more care that he takes in new energy every day. So there's something I didn't know, that to receive a thought actually takes energy. And Bruno Groening taught us how to fill ourselves up to stay fully charged. This very simple and oftentimes joyful practice of tuning in, Einstellen. So let's reflect on how are we doing in this aspect of the game of life? Are we keeping our battery fully charged? Are we on a daily basis taking in this energy? Personally, I do it first thing in the morning. I wake up, I say a prayer, and then I start tuning in. So let's reflect on that. And let's also really check in with yourself. Do you agree with Bruno Groening that as a human being, we are like batteries, that we need to, and that it's our job to charge ourselves up on a daily basis? See if you agree with that, resonate with that. Observing the body, taking in this energy to really fill ourselves up, to charge ourselves up. Taking in the good, charging up that battery, and beginning to be mindful of which thoughts you say yes to. Thoughts come at us. We don't have a choice per se about a thought appearing to us. There are things we can do to increase the amount of positive thoughts coming to us and decrease the negative thoughts. But once a thought shows up, then that's decision time. One moment, there's some background noise. I'm going to mute. So once the thought shows up, that's where free will comes in, whether we say yes to it or no to it. And that takes practice. And you can just start right here, right now, one thought at a time, checking, is this a good, true, helpful thought? Because the thoughts we take in then move us to action. Generally, before, you know, let's let's look at, everyone wants a good life. But what is a life? A life is a series of things we do or don't do. But what drives our actions? According to Bruno Groening, it's our thoughts. He said the thoughts push, coerce. The German word is bewegen, move. I don't think move is the best translation. In English, move just means to, like, I'm going to move this from here. But the word bewegen is more like to push or to coerce, to, yeah, to push. Our thoughts push us towards certain actions. So, which thoughts we say yes to is of utmost importance. So let's reflect on that and practice a little. One thought is a time. When it comes, check in. Check in with your heart and soul. Is this a good thought? And thoughts are tricky. Something that can seem like a neutral thought actually is a negative thought. For example, as we were just sitting here right now, tuning in, had the thought, oh, I think I'll go to the beach today. I'm like, okay, well, if I do, be sure to, wear a long sleeve shirt and a hat, because yesterday I spent a little too much time in the sun and my skin is a little red. So, first thought, maybe I'll go to the beach today. Yeah, that's a neutral, positive thought. I mean, I need to check in and see if but see, the thing is, you even need to check that. Is that the right thing for me to do today? Like, yeah, it sounds nice. But then so does the thought of like, one more piece of cake. That would be good. Just because a thought sounds good doesn't make it good. And the next thought, yeah, it's important to wear a jacket. I mean, that's a reasonable thought, given that I spent a lot of time. My skin's a little red from being in the sun a lot yesterday. But then where my mind went from that was just dwelling of like, I'm sunburned, and oh, maybe I shouldn't go. And so that's why we need to watch every thought and firmly give away. Now, that doesn't mean if I go to the beach today, I won't wear a jacket, but that's very different. The thought of like, it's a good idea to wear a jacket is very different than, oh, I'm sunburned. Maybe I shouldn't go, or if I go, it'll get worse, or So handing over such negative thoughts to God or to Bruno Groening. The thing is such thoughts disconnect us from God, just as listening to unnecessary negative things. It literally disconnects us from God or begins to weaken the connection. And then if we really say yes to it and really take it in, it cuts off the connection. And such thoughts keep us disconnected from the truth. All things are curable. About 4 years ago, was it 4 years? Maybe 5 years ago, someone came to one of these online meetings with a very bad sunburn. They said their skin was like just red. It was even painful to sit. And by the end of the community hour, their skin was no longer red. It was like light pink and it didn't hurt to sit anymore. Absolutely impossible within the realm of the realms of biology, chemistry, and physics. Absolutely impossible that over an hour period, a very severe sunburn could heal. The laws, and I put that in quotes, laws of physics and biology don't work that way. But there's a higher law, a law that's actually, I said higher, but really the foundation of what we think of as material laws. There's a spiritual law. And for that, mending a sunburn is nothing if we tap into this energy. So, if anyone would like to share what they're feeling right now, how they're experiencing the healing stream, that's welcome now. It's always welcome. And I'd like to share how a friend of mine experienced the healing stream. He was introduced to these teachings about 7 years ago. And at his introduction, he felt something. He felt a little bit of the energy. But then after that, he didn't feel anything for months. But he kept going to the meetings and he kept practicing on his own because he really had the sense this is true and this is going to help me. There was this inner conviction. And after about 2, maybe 3 months of doing that, he had a healing of 20 years of neck pain. It just went away. And at that point onwards, he was able to feel the energy very strongly. That one brings such a smile. He was my first friend who I helped introduce to these teachings who had a healing. So it was a very special healing for me. I played a part in it in helping to connect him to Bruno in this path. Science is focused on what we can perceive with the five senses: the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and touch. And there's something beyond it, which we can feel. Bruno Groening pointed out that the human being has the capacity to feel the divine. And Bruno said that it had gone asleep in most people and that he needed to wake, that he was here to wake it up in people. So we could literally feel the divine, feel God. So many things that we think of are serious illnesses or injuries aren't. I was at a retreat and I twisted my ankle and it was really hurting. And I just said, no, I don't accept this. I give it away. Bruno, please take it. And I just kept walking and it was fine. Well, what would have happened if I had said, oh my gosh, I'm injured and oh no, why did this happen? And this is horrible. It happened on, there's a very good chance I actually would have had an injury. Now, again, the I don't like calling them laws anymore. I was going to say the laws of physics. I'll just say from the medical point of view, that's not how, from the scientific or medical point of view, that's not how life works. From the spiritual point of view, we can say no to an illness, to a burden. And sometimes just the act of saying no is enough and the burden leaves. I've experienced it so many times. I've met so many people who've experienced this. Very early on in this path, I had very severe knee issues, um, which I've spoken about. I think I made a video about it. And to where it was hard to go up steps. It was uncomfortable to go up steps for me. And I was pretty convinced they were going to heal. But sometimes, and Bruno spoke of this, called it Regulungen, that during a healing process, there can be a temporary flare up. For example, I remember one time I was out for a walk and my knees just, there was pain. Normally it wasn't pain. Normally it was just intense discomfort, but it was awe. And I just, if I hadn't known, I would have said, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with my knees. But I just said, no, I don't accept this. That's just Regulungen. And gave it away and just kept walking. And I was fine. And another time, another bout of Regulungen with my knees came so bad that I could barely walk. Like it was like crippling pain in my knees, which I'd never felt before. And I said, no, this is Regulungen. And I just hobbled for a couple of steps. And I said, I don't accept this. And it went away. So what I'm talking about sounds utterly fantastic and unbelievable until you've experienced it yourself. So I invite people to really take this to heart. That doesn't mean don't go see a doctor. That doesn't mean Well, um, for example, I've given away the idea of sunburn, but if I go to the beach today, if I feel guided, I'll probably wear a long sleeve shirt, but I just won't think about it. I give away the idea that there's anything wrong with my body. And then I just do what seems right. That's what Bruno called us to not be, to not be idiots about it. Like, I don't have a sunburn and then go lie in the sun for 3 hours. Like, you could do that if that's what you feel guided to, but I don't think that's exactly what Bruno Groening had in mind. So let's sit with all this that I was able and many others to just literally give something away and have it be gone in an instant. Taking in this good energy, giving away the idea of illness, taking on the idea of health. I'd like to thank everyone for joining in. Thanks for saying hello, Magdalena, Jisoo, Claudie, and Gerald. Welcome, Lotus Chick. So I wish everyone a day full of keeping their battery charged, being mindful of their thoughts, mindful of their words, and also mindful of what they listen to and what they take in. What we take in and listen to, whether it be our thoughts, whether it be a TV show, whether it be the words of another person. Very impactful, very impactful. Most people on the spiritual path try to be mindful of the food they put in their body. Well, let's be mindful of the thoughts we take into our body. So I'll close with a short prayer. You're welcome, Claudie. You're welcome, Gerald. Dear God, dear Bruno, please, the highest blessing for everyone who attended here today. Please, God, please, Bruno, for everyone who watches this video. Please, for this ministry and all related activities. Please, for everyone sharing the teachings of Bruno Groening in so many different ways. Please, for all the friends of Bruno Groening, regardless of participation in a particular organization or not. Please, Bruno, for every living thing on this planet, and for the great turnaround, turning away from evil, turning back to God, back to nature, back to the belief in human beings. And for all of humanity, utter and complete faith that the good will prevail in our lives as individuals and on this planet. Thank you so much for joining in, everyone. I wish you a beautiful day, and thanks for making my day more beautiful. Take care. Much love.